Okay, should we start? So, we have few news items, some of which were not covered in The Hindu. Okay, but those are important news. So, for example, we have this news called India EAEU signed this term of reference to begin free trade agreement negotiations. Now, there is a trend that you can observe that India is trying to go for some kind of free trade agreements, as many as possible, because there is so much uncertainty in the entire world. We don't know who will be our partner, who will not be our partner. Suddenly we have seen the trend, especially with respect to USA, right? And we are not part of many FTAs as such right now. So that's the reason we did with UK. We are talking about free trade agreement with European Union. We are in touch with right now this Asian bloc that we call it this RCEP. We are in touch with them also. And now we are talking about this one. Now, specifically, if we talk about this region, the name of this region is Eurasian Economic Union. Eurasian Economic Union. So, if we see the area specifically, it includes these countries: Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Belarus, Armenia. Okay, these are the states. Now, somewhat we can say it's the area which is having influence by Russia. Okay, these are those countries. Now, specifically, we are planning this economic union. Now, once I had told about free trade agreements, there are different kinds of free trade agreements. Okay, for example, one is this preferential trade agreement. You give preference to just few items, few goods that you are selling to the other country. You give them some preference. So, some tariff will be reduced to some extent, right? Then you increase the number of products and then it becomes free trade agreement. You increase it more, customs union, then common market, then there is something called economic union. Okay, so when you're looking at this European Union and all, they are somewhere over here. It's an economic union, means all the countries who are part of this economic union, they are having almost free trade, just like they are part of one country. Just like in India, we see different states. They're having trade with each other. There is no problem. You can send anything from any state to any other state. No problem, no barrier at all. No additional stuffs or additional taxes. So that's kind of economic union we see. Okay. So here we are talking about such an economic union, which is Eurasian Economic Union, which is already there. These are those countries which are having this economic union. And now India is trying to have free trade agreement with them. Clear? Any doubt on this? Now what happens, you need to understand. When countries go for such economic integration, it can also lead to political integration. Few countries coming together, they are coming together, let's say Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. These countries slowly increase the trade. Slowly they create this free trade agreement. Slowly they become this economic union also. Can you imagine what will be that economic union? Here, any trade happening from Pakistan to India to Nepal, there won't be any barrier. Complete free movement of people, free movement of goods, free movement of services. It's like as if they are not different countries. So this is a trend, after which comes the next stage wherein there will be political union. So this entire region will become one. They'll become one country altogether. That's how things happen. Okay. So clear about this? So this Eurasian Economic Union, this particular region, this was created in 2014 with this treaty called Treaty on the Eurasian Economic Union. You should just know that there is some treaty with the same name and these are the countries: Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Russia. At least you should know the names. Okay? Any doubt on this? No? Very easy. Now next news from PIB part. Transformation of India's defense and internal security posture. Now you can observe something very important happening in terms of India's defense sector. This topic becomes important more for your mains to understand what is happening with respect to the defense part in India. Okay. Now what is exactly changing? They've talked about what exactly is happening, how much changes you can observe. So for example, they said India was spending some amount of money on defense. Now this could be, let's say you're spending money on buying more weapons, or let's say you're producing some weapons or some missiles at home or in the domestic market of India. It could be anything you're spending, or let's say you're spending money on developing some new technology which will be used for defense purpose. It could be anything. So this defense expenditure of India in this year 2013-14, at that time it was 2.5 lakh crore rupees. Now it has reached around 6.8 lakh crore. So somewhere 2 to 3 times jump we have made in last 10 years in the defense expenditure. Okay, this doesn't mean as compared to our GDP, we have increased the percentage. Let's say we were spending 2% or 3% of GDP. We did not make it 6%. It is still the same, but our GDP size is increasing. The size of our economy is continuously increasing, because of which we see even the defense expenditure in real terms, that is also increasing. Okay, now this is the part of expenditure. Now if we specifically talk about the production we are making, because India is also now focusing on producing defense related items at home. Mostly what we were doing earlier, we were buying almost everything from other countries. Let's say mostly we were dependent on Russia. Yes, earlier it was USSR, later on Russia. Nowadays we are dependent on France, Israel, America. These are the countries from which we are buying many of these defense products. Okay, now what India is trying to do, India is also trying to produce some defense related items. What is the purpose? Why we are producing? Why can't we buy from them? Yes, to reduce the cost. That's very good. See, someone is selling you something, obviously you can produce the same thing at a lower cost. But the advantage they have is they are doing this task since last 40, 50, 60 or 100 years. So technologically they are way ahead of you. That is one challenge wherein we face some problems, right? So one is cost angle. Second is nowadays we are even thinking about selling these products, defense related items. What America has been doing since years, or Russia is also doing since years, they have defense industry in their country and they sell defense related items to the other countries. For them it's a source of their economy, right? So this is something even we are trying to do right now. Okay, obviously we're not competing directly with them. If they are producing S400, Russia is making S400, we are not making S400, but we'll make something else. We are making BrahMos, or maybe we are making some small equipments which we can sell to countries, let's say in Southeast Asia, let's say in Africa, with whom we have good relations, right? So that's how we see domestic production taking place. And in last few years we have seen government is focusing a lot on this domestic production of defense related items. So the data says it has been tripled. It has become somewhere around, if we check the cost of it, 1.5 lakh crore. Okay, so this shows, yes, domestic production has also increased substantially. Expenditure increased, production also increased. Defense Acquisition Procedure 2020, this was brought in. Now here you will see the government's principal stand, or maybe the necessity, that we are going for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Government says that. Why we are going for Atmanirbharta? What Atmanirbhar means? Becoming self-reliant. We don't want to buy from others. We want to become self-reliant. What is the reason? Especially in terms of defense I'm talking about, not about any other product. For any defense related items, we want to become self-reliant. That means we want to produce on our own. We don't want to buy from others. Is it just the cost angle, or there is any other dimension? Is it just because we have to pay them some amount of money? Is it that reason, or we want to produce on our own? What's the reason behind that? No idea? So the point is, when you're buying such items from other countries, you become dependent on those countries. Let's say right now, India doesn't want to have good relations with Russia. We want to go ahead with what America is saying. But we are still not going by that direction. Why? We have bought so much already from Russia. Suddenly, let's say tomorrow, a war starts with China. So 50, 60, 70% of our equipments are already Russian made. And because Russia and China are in good terms, if Russia says, we will not help you with this. Let's say you have bought something, we need some repairing of that product. It may happen, right? Like this S400. We need some repairing, we need some parts, some components. If Russia refuses to give you, then you will be in problem. If you're not in good relation with Russia, this can also happen. That's the reason we are not able to have a foreign policy which is completely free because of this dependency on other countries. Or let's say we know that if there will be a war with China, we need technologically advanced equipments. So we are buying from Russia as well as from America as well as from Israel, right? So we are dependent on these countries. If we produce on our own, if we become Atmanirbhar, then we will have a very stronger Atmanirbhar policy also in terms of foreign policy. So our foreign policy and defense is very much related. Okay? So that's the reason this defense acquisition procedure was brought in, wherein government said we will try to produce as much as possible in India. We will use as much Indian things as possible. So for example, they said we are going to prioritize this by Indian indigenously designed, developed and manufactured items. You're producing something, let's say there's a company in India who is producing something, let's say they're producing some missile or something related to defense. So they need some items, some raw materials, some designs. So all of that, take Indian things, take Indian design, Indian manufactured goods. So that was the policy. Then they made this Srijan portal. What they made in that, just government made a portal, a website on which they listed out the products that we buy from other countries. Just a list was given. Now when this list is shown, the private companies can see that list, and it is just a push to private companies who are there in India that see, these are the products we are buying from other countries. You do one thing, you produce these products over here, we will buy from you. Simple. So such portal was created. Then this positive indigenization list was created. So this positive list does simply means now these are the items India is not going to buy from other countries. Only we will buy from Indian producers. This is what Indian government is saying with this particular list, that we will not import these items. Okay. So all these trends show that what government is trying is to make India self-reliant in terms of defense sector. Okay, these two things very clearly show that. Then if we see the defense export, now because we are producing, we are making ourselves self-reliant, now after that we are trying to sell it to others also. So if we see the export part, it has grown 34 times. So we are right now selling some items to almost 100 countries. So yes, we are growing in terms of export also. Okay. Any doubt on this till now? No? Now, if we see all these things happening, how it all started. So the first thing that happened was government liberalized the FDI in the defense sector. Foreign direct investment in the defense sector. See, whenever there is FDI coming, that means some other companies in the other parts of the world, foreigners, if they want to invest in Indian companies, so they come up with this foreign direct investment, right? Now there will be two different routes for foreign direct investment. One is automatic route and other one is government route. When you go for automatic route, if government says, let's say we take example, let's say pharmaceutical sector. Government might say pharmaceutical sector 100% FDI is allowed through automatic route. That means a company from America, let's say they want to invest in a company in India. Let's say I own a company. This is my company. So my shares will be 100% shares owned by me, I'm an Indian who owns 100% shares in this company, which is an Indian company right now, and this is a pharmaceutical company. Now let's say someone from America, let's say Elon Musk wants to buy this company completely. That means he wants to buy almost 100% of the shares. Okay, and government has said through automatic route, you can invest up to 100% in the pharmaceutical sector. So he doesn't need to get any permission from the government. Directly he will come and make a deal with me. He'll make me some payment and he will buy this company altogether, 100% shares. And after that he will give this information to RBI that I have bought this. Done. Now government might say that we'll not allow 100%. We'll just allow, let's say, 74%. we'll keep 26% through government route. So if someone wants to invest up till 74% of the shares, they can do automatically, no issues. But if they want to get more, see, the moment you get 75% shares, that means complete majority part is there. Nobody can do anything. You can take any decision, right? So here, if you want to gain more, you need to take permission of the government. That's a problem, right? So this is what we call as FDI through automatic route or government route. FDI through automatic or government route. Now, when we are going for this particular defense sector, earlier government was not allowing 100% or majority of the share through automatic route. It was through government route. Okay, but later on government said we are liberalizing it. We are allowing most of the investment through automatic route. So this was one thing because of which lot of companies from other countries, they started investing in India. They brought money, capital, they brought technology, and that's how we started producing many things. Okay, so this has played an important role, first thing. Second thing, government brought some schemes for funding. Because let's say we want to do some research in terms of defense technology, or let's say there are some startups in India, some MSMEs in India who are working in producing something related to defense. For that, they need some money, some kind of incentive. So for that, government brought some funds, like let's say this IDEX or this Technology Development Fund. So these are those schemes through which some money is being provided. Okay, so these reforms are quite important, because of which we say that such changes are happening. Okay. What happened, ma? Will you need some time? We are getting disturbed. Okay. Now, from this, now we get basic understanding of what's happening in our defense sector, right? Production increasing, expenditure increasing, export increasing, and we have carried out some reforms because of which all this is happening, right? Now, as far as this terrorism part is concerned, because terrorism has been a major challenge, especially for India as well as other parts of the country, but especially for India, right? And we many times talk about Pakistan when it comes to terrorism. Now, we see some trend. The trend is, first we did this surgical strike in the year 2016. Right? Earlier, whenever there was any terrorism kind of incident, India was not getting into the territory of other country to attack as a retaliation. Because earlier, terrorism was considered to be something done by non-state actor. Mostly it was done by non-state actor. There is state actor, there is non-state actor. Right? But we have come to the conclusion with experience that in terms of Pakistan, these terrorists are nothing but they are sponsored by the state. Pakistani government sponsors them, right? So India has changed its strategy in dealing with terrorists. So here, first of all, we see this retaliatory action from India's side in 2016 with surgical strike. Right? After that, we see 2025, this Operation Sindoor taking place. Here also we have taken the action. Although we did not directly attack any of the Pakistani military position or something, it was very clear from India's side that we are making a precise strike on the location from where we were attacked or where those terrorists, right? If needed, we will even cross the border and get into the territory and attack. So these are the trends which we can observe, wherein the stance of government is changing to some extent. Okay, so this happened. Then we have this Sudarshan Chakra mission brought just recently. We are saying we are creating a security shield for India. So right now, when you're dealing with these problems of terrorism, now it's not just about military. You have to work in the field of cyber security. You have to work in the field of space also. So India is talking about creating a national shield which will protect India from all kinds of terrors. So this is something we are still working on. So we are saying we will integrate artificial intelligence, cyber defense, space security, and any next generation weapons. So these could be any new generation weapons, like let's say now you don't need normal weapon. We might come up with something biological weapon, chemical weapon. Right? So we are trying to create that. Okay, and this is Prime Minister's what we call as 5 new normals, that this is a new thing which has come into picture when we are dealing with terrorism. This was not normal earlier, now it has become normal. First of all, firm response to terror attacks. If there is attack, we will be giving reaction. That is for sure. This has become normal, which we can see through the trend. This was not happening earlier. Then no tolerance for nuclear blackmail. Now this was happening in case of Pakistan specifically, that they used to blackmail that we will use our nuclear weapon, we will use our nuclear weapon if you do something. Now what India is doing, use your nuclear weapon, we will also use. So it's like we are not ready to accept your blackmail. You just use one weapon, we will use all the weapons and destroy entire Pakistan. That's the statement they are giving nowadays, right? Then no distinction between terrorists and their sponsors. Now this is something change in the policy. Okay, earlier you were just looking at terrorist, that terrorist is attacking. Now you are saying terrorist is not important, who is sponsoring, who is giving the backing to this terrorist, that is important. Okay, then zero compromise on sovereignty. So if India's sovereignty is at stake, we will not compromise that thing at any cost. And last, terrorism first in any talks. Now this is about any India-Pakistan talks on any issues. Specifically, this is about Indus Water Treaty. So nowadays, India is saying we might need to review Indus Water Treaty. Okay, that we are saying. We are also saying, specifically if we see the speech of Prime Minister on 15th of August, he said, whatever water India deserves to get, that India must get, not Pakistan. So the idea, what he was trying to portray was, we are going to build more dams now. Through this speech, it is very much clear that we are going to build more dams on those rivers. See, there are total 6 rivers when it comes to Indus Water Treaty. For three rivers, we can make particular dams on them and divert the water towards India. On 3 rivers, we don't have that right because we expect Pakistan to get more water share for these 3 rivers. But even on those 3 rivers on which we can make dams, we have not built many dams as such till now. So most of the water is going to Pakistan. For Pakistan, water is very important. You see, if these rivers water is not going to Pakistan, then there will be a lot of problems. It will be a big crisis for Pakistan. That's why they make this statement, if someone stops our water, it will lead to a war. Right? And India is saying, if you want to talk about Indus Water Treaty, first talk about terrorism. So he makes that statement that there cannot be a talk on water and there cannot be a talk on terrorism at the same time. Means he's trying to say that both these things will be linked now. You want that we'll not talk on terrorism, we'll talk on this treaty. This will not happen. Okay? So this is a new normal that we observe. Clear? Any doubt on this? No? Okay, so this all of this will be important for your terrorism part. In case in GS paper 2 international relations, neighborhood part, India-Pakistan relations, they keep on asking questions. Right? So all this part you should know what is changing as far as India's stance is concerned. Okay? Then there are some changes with respect to the security part in India, within India. For example, as far as left-wing extremism is concerned, or this Naxalism part is concerned, that has got reduced substantially. Then we are focusing more on the development of these regions. See, if there is no development, then there will be other problems. Let's say you develop Hyderabad a lot, but there is one area in Telangana which is not developed at all. You will find the problem of Naxalism emerging from that area. Different problems emerging. So development is very important, right? So development also acts as something that provides you security. You will not find Naxalism in cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad or Mumbai. You will find it in those pockets of Chhattisgarh or Maharashtra where there is no development. Those areas where development is lacking. So even development is something that can ensure your security, internal security. Okay? And last, we are going for this India's semiconductor mission. Now, what is the role of semiconductor in defense? Semiconductor, you know, or you don't know? Yes, what is semiconductor? In mobile phones, laptops, computers, in any of those electronic products, there's something called semiconductor that is used, without which you can't make it. Okay, so this semiconductor is also important for your defense related items. You're making missiles, you're making, see, there also electronics is needed, right? So in that, semiconductor becomes important, right? So even such missions wherein we are trying to make those semiconductor chips, we are trying to manufacture them in India. Right now we're dependent on other countries, like there are companies in Taiwan or some other countries. Taiwan is doing really good in terms of chip manufacturing, and this is very advanced technology. The chip is very small, and manufacturing it, you have to build so many things, you have to add so many things in it. It's a very, what we call is advanced stuff. You can't make it very easily. You can't like, I'll set up a business over here and make this chip. No, this will not happen. You need advanced technology for that, right? So this will also help our defense sector. Make sense? Any doubt on this defense part? No? Okay. Now next is the news about Kerala. By achieving 100% digital literacy, Kerala reaches another milestone. So Kerala has become the first state to achieve the status of 100% digitally literate state. We're not talking about literacy, we are talking about digital literacy, right? So when you say something is digitally literate, so the definition is ability of individuals and communities to use digital technology. If in your family someone knows how to use digital technology, how to use computer, how to use internet, that's the basic thing. Okay, if you call our household is a digitally literate household, that means in your family at least one person knows how to use this computer, mobile phone, internet, all these things. Now the good thing is, if you become digitally literate at this time, anyway you have to learn these things. If you become literate enough, you can get lot of benefits. For example, there's a government scheme you can access very easily. You can get that Aadhaar verification, all these things done very easily. You can get access to schemes, you can get access to a lot of knowledge. So many things will be done, right? On social media you can connect with government, you can show your democratic participation. Many things will happen. You can learn many skills just through YouTube. Many people are just learning some new skills and they're getting some jobs. So the point is, this digital literacy is very important. Now what government of Kerala initially did, they actually made one initial project called as this Akshay project. So they started with this Malappuram district and they made this district 100% literate. Then they implemented this thing at the state level with this scheme called DG Kerala. Okay, and they have made entire state 100% literate. Now we can say that this is something entire country has to learn. So the Kerala will act as a model state in terms of digital literacy, right? Any doubt on this? Now next news is from the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs. So there's this committee which has given its report. The report is related to cyber crimes in India. Yes, now cyber crimes which are taking place, we also see many times we get some fraudulent calls, tell us OTP, tell us something. So all these are part of those cyber crimes. Now you see, this report has specifically talked about the impact, rising number of cyber crimes and the impact it is having on overall India. One is financial impact. He says we are getting so many complaints. Somewhere around 53 lakh complaints we got in these years, 2019 to 24. One thing you need to understand, these are official complaints. You could have got 1,000 times of calls or fraudulent calls, you never complained. Am I right? So the real number, maybe we can't even imagine what is that number. Okay, so these complaints we are getting, and they made just a broad analysis, or they're just speculating on the amount of money or amount of fraud that is actually happening. So they said 31,000 crore rupees this much amount because of such fraud incidents of cybercrime people have lost. Okay, so this is a major financial impact if people are carrying out, right? Then social and psychological impact, people go through a lot of problems because of this cybercrime. So for example, there's something called cyber stalking. What people do online, they just keep a check on you, or they text you again and again. So you develop some psychological problem that why someone is continuously looking at you, continuously checking you. That creates some fear, right? Normally also if someone is stalking, that's a problem. So this is cyber stalking that is happening. Or there is an issue called identity theft. What's identity theft? Very good. They are taking away your personal information. Let's say your credit card information or something. Someone using that identity and misusing it, or buying something or something. So this is identity theft. So this is like, now earlier we had thieves in physical terms. Now they are online thieves, right? This sextortion. People are blackmailing one another with some photographs that we will leak your photographs and asking for money. Or there's something called deep fake, which has become very problematic nowadays. So deep fake involves use of artificial intelligence. We can make exact video of you even if you were not there, just because we have access to some of your images, we have access to your audio. So using that, we can make your deep fake video. This is also very concerning. Then we have some national security part things. So something is happening specifically. Many people get this call from, let's say, Cambodia, Laos, etc. And they say that we can offer you a job. When you go there, they're given a job. But the job is, you have to do these fraudulent things. You have to make a call to some Indians and do these fraudulent things, ask for OTP and all. So this kind of scam factories are present right now. Many a times people get called from Vietnam, right? This is happening. This SIM card procurement, what these criminals do, they buy so many SIM cards, and then using those SIM cards, they keep on calling. Now for government authorities, it becomes very difficult to track all of this, because so many people are involved over here, so many SIM cards. If someone has bought 10,000 SIM cards, how are you going to check everything? So authorities, for them, it is difficult. Now comes one angle of cybercrime. If this cybercrime, right now when we are thinking about it, it looks like some criminals are doing this. What if a state is carrying out this cybercrime against another state? Let's say China wants to put some pressure on India or destabilize India's economy or something. Or let's say as a war tactic, they want to carry out cyber attack on India. That will be problematic. So there's something called critical information infrastructure. There is some infrastructure which is very critical for India. Let's say our banks, banking system, our power grid, the electricity power grid that we have, or let's say our nuclear power plants, etc. If let's say someone goes for a cyber attack on these things, let's say on our banking system there's a cyber attack, suddenly all our banking servers crash, or suddenly our bank's working stops. You see, you can't make a single payment. Entire India's economy will come to a dead stand because of this thing, right? So these are some concerns which this particular report has talked about. Clear? Now they have talked about some issues and they have given some recommendations. So I suggest you people to just read it. Okay, these are good recommendations they have made. One important recommendation which I can talk about, like this is a bit controversial because others are normal, which you can read easily. This is something little controversial. They're saying under this DSPE Act, Delhi Special Police Establishment Act, under this act is very famous because we made a body called this CBI. CBI gets all its powers from this act. Okay. Now CBI is a central organization, like an investigation agency at the central level, right? And when you talk about police, law and order, this is a state subject. So CBI can't just go in any state and investigate any case. They can't. They have to take permission of the state government. Now, what happens in case of CBI is they need to take consent from the state government. And in recent times, some state governments have denied them that consent. For example, West Bengal, or let's say even in case of Maharashtra that was happening. So many states, especially because of this state government versus central government politics. So they were feeling that central government is deliberately using CBI to put pressure on the politicians of other party or create some problems, because of which those state governments, they denied that consent. So they're saying we need to make some changes in this act because CBI is not able to operate in all states. And if we have to deal with all these problems, CBI needs power to operate in every state and investigate cases. So they're saying we should change this act or make some amendment in this act through parliament. Okay, so this will be controversial. The moment government brings any such bill, it would remain in controversy for sure. Okay, rest normal recommendations they have given, which you can understand. Clear? Now next one. NATO to establish logistics headquarters in Sweden. Now what is NATO? NATO, you must have heard NATO, very famous. Why this Russia-Ukraine war started? Now we are talking about stopping the war. My question is, why this war started? The war started because Ukraine want to become part of NATO and Russia did not like it. So Russia attacked. Russia and Ukraine are neighbors. The moment Ukraine is saying that we will become part of NATO, Russia attacked them. So what is NATO? The name is North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. Right now if you see, okay, we don't have the map. So let's say this North America, where you have USA, and if you see this, let's say this is the part of Europe, this is the Western Europe, and this is your Russia, and earlier it was the Soviet Union on this part. So this part and this part, they were always in conflict, especially after World War II. After World War II, we see the phase of Cold War. On one side, we have a group which is led by USA. And on the other side, we have a group led by USSR, that is Soviet Union. Right? At that time, this part of the world, they created something called NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Now, what this simply means, this includes your North American countries like USA, Canada, etc., and the Western European countries like Britain, France, Germany, etc., etc. These countries came together and they said, we are forming one alliance. This is a political and military alliance. Now they're saying, we will always remain in group. If someone attacks any of our country, any of the member of our country, then we all will come and attack you. So it's just like any fight taking place in our locality. Someone attacks you, you call your friends. Is somewhat like that. That if you attack, let's say Russia attacks Britain, then Britain will not attack back. This entire group will attack on Russia. Now this creates fear in the minds of others that if you take any problem, if you get into any trouble with any of the country, then entire group can attack you. So this was created for the security of this part, because at that time there was Cold War going on. The world was divided into two parts. Right? So such thing was created. Now this Cold War has ended, especially after 1990, because USSR collapsed, disintegrated, right? So many countries came out of it. Russia is there right now. So right now there is no Cold War. After 1990 there was no Cold War. And by that logic, this organization becomes irrelevant. Am I right? Because you don't have any enemy like that, which was earlier there. But they did not disintegrate it, or they did not stop using this. Rather, they further started expanding this NATO. Okay, they started adding few more members. They want that almost all the countries which are around Russia, they should also become part of NATO, so that Russia becomes very weak. Getting the point? So they said Sweden should become part. So Sweden is the recent member who became part of this NATO. Then Ukraine, they said, Ukraine, you also become part. Ukraine said, yes, we will become the part. The moment Ukraine said, Russia said, you become the member, we will show you. Because for Russia, it's a very dangerous thing. His neighbor becomes part of NATO. Right? It's like Chinese military coming and sitting in Sri Lanka or Bangladesh. Will you like it? you will not like it. So that kind of thing. So that's the reason we saw this war starting. Okay, so you should know this. This is North Atlantic Treaty Organization, brought in the year 1949 with this treaty called North Atlantic Treaty. Okay, its headquarters is in Brussels in Belgium, and right now there are total 32 members. This factual part you should know. And this security part which I talked about, that if you attack one member, all will attack. This concept is called as collective security. Okay, this kind of initiative gives collective security to everyone, entire group. Clear? Any doubt on this? No? Okay. Now next news related to this Big Cat Alliance. There is something called International Big Cat Alliance. Government is granting UN-style privileges, immunities to this alliance. So what's happening exactly? First of all, we are talking about something called as Big Cat. What is Big Cat? Yes, Big Cat we call like those animals which belong to this category of cat. Now normal cat, but even we call tiger as coming from the family of cat. So there's an entire family. We divide species in different forms, different categories we make. So in that we call some as big cats. So there are 7 big cats. For example, tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, cheetah, jaguar and puma. Okay. So we said, India specifically, India said, we will start one alliance of the countries wherein we can conserve this species, big cat species, because we saw that the population of these species is reducing. Now what's the problem if tigers species is reducing? Why are we so concerned about it? If tigers are dying, let them die. If leopards are dying, what's the problem? Animals will increase. So is it good or bad? Yes. So the point is, these are something we call as the predators. You see, our entire system works in a form of chain. We call it food chain or food web. Right? Someone will eat someone, someone will eat someone. That's how the entire chain works. At the top, we have these predators. Right? For example, we have the plants or something which are eaten by, let's say, deer. This deer is eaten by this tiger. This is how the chain works. This entire ecosystem works on the system of balance. That balance is very important. Now, if you see that this species is completely removed, then this species number will increase. There will be imbalance and the system will collapse. Complete system will collapse. Even humans will not be able to survive because the forest will not be able to survive. There will be a lot of problems. So we have to ensure the conservation of all the species. Right? So here we are focusing on that. Now here India had made this initiative. So India started this International Big Cat Alliance and asked other countries to become part of it. Now you see, 2 kinds of countries will be interested. One, where they have these species. It's not like tiger is available in every country. There will be very few countries. Right? So only those countries will be interested, or there will be some countries which are interested in doing some research on them, or they want to fund so that you can do some conservation. So all such countries can become part of it. That's what India said we can become. Right now they have 12 countries who are part of it. Its headquarter, because India started, so headquarter is India. Okay, and our agency called this National Tiger Conservation Authority, they are playing major role in this. Whatever working happens about this alliance, they play important role. Okay, now what India has done, we provide some immunity to the people of United Nations. Let's say someone from United Nations is coming to India. So we provide them some extra immunity, some privileges. We have given similar immunity to the people belonging to this Big Cat Alliance. That's the news. Yes? Any doubt on this? No? Now, next, gasification technology, a mismatch for India's high ash content coal, says Niti Aayog. Now here we are talking about something called as coal gasification process. We have coal, we use the coal to generate electricity. Okay. Now see, electricity is important for us, energy is important for us. Without electricity, nothing will work right now. So continuously we need that. For that, we need something. Let's say we can generate electricity through different methods. We can generate through nuclear power plant, we can generate through thermal power plant, we can generate through that windmills which are there. From there also we can generate electricity. Now what do you think? Maximum electricity we are generating through which source? From nuclear, from wind, or this power plants that are there in the let's say in dams, wherever there is a river or something, there we build dams, and through dams also we generate electricity. So maximum electricity we generate from thermal power plants. In thermal power plants, what we do, we take coal, okay, we heat the coal. By heating the coal, we get a lot of energy. That energy then heats the water. Okay, from that we get steam, and because of that steam, that turbine rotates. That's a process over there. In simple terms, we can say by burning coal, we are generating electricity. Right now, whatever electricity India needs, let's say 100% electricity that we need, around 50% of that is coming from burning this coal. So coal is important. Now there is a problem with the coal. When you burn the coal, you get a lot of gases like this carbon dioxide gas, and that's a problem. We are seeing this global warming, climate change, because a lot of carbon dioxide is being emitted. So if we burn the coal, that's a problem. If we don't burn, we don't have electricity. It's a problematic stuff. So we are bringing a new technology that we call as coal gasification. So the point is, we'll use the coal, but not in a way which leads to pollution. We will use it in a different way. So see how we will use that. Let's say we are normally going for burning the coal. The process is called as combustion, right? You must have heard this term at least in your science part. Now when you're burning, for combustion you need oxygen. Without oxygen, this combustion will not take place, right? So fully oxygen supply is there and the coal is burning, and that's why we are getting, at the end we are getting this carbon dioxide also. Am I right? Because in coal we have carbon, and here you are adding oxygen for the combustion. Am I right? Carbon, oxygen, so CO2 will be formed for sure, right? Now what we will do? We will change the process. We will go for something called as gasification. We will heat the coal at a very high temperature, let's say 1000-degree temperature or more than that. And here we are not going to use complete oxygen as such. Either we'll use very little oxygen or no oxygen at all. Now when you go for such a process, here you will not find that coal will burn the way it was burning earlier. That combustion process will not happen completely. It will be a partial combustion or a different thing. As a result, what will be formed is a new gas will be created over here. Okay, as a result of this process, a new gas will be created. This gas is a mixture of multiple gases. So it includes carbon monoxide, hydrogen, methane, carbon dioxide mixed. You see, carbon dioxide will also be here, but in very less quantity. And you will get so many other gases also. Okay, now what you can do is, the moment you produce this, you don't let's say even this carbon monoxide is not a good gas. Hydrogen, is hydrogen a good gas? It's a very good gas. Government is saying that we can use hydrogen as a fuel. Methane can also be used as a fuel, right? So this entire composition of mixed up of these gases is called as syngas. Okay, so when you go for this process, which is called coal gasification, you will get something called syngas, which is a composition of so many gases. Now we can use all these gases and produce something else. Let's say from this you can make methanol. You can separate this hydrogen and make a fuel all together from this. So if you do this rightly, if you go for this process rightly, you're not having this carbon dioxide emission, the kind of emission we were getting from coal, and you're using the same coal. Good thing? Yes? So that's what we are doing. That's what we are trying to do with this coal gasification process. Now, right now, Niti Aayog is saying that India's coal, for India's coal, the technologies that we are using for coal gasification coming from other countries, that doesn't seem to be suitable. That's what they're saying in the news. So maybe after a few more days, maybe some new research or something will come up. We'll get to know what we will do with this. But this technology is in process. We're still working on it. Clear? Any doubt on this? There's only one problematic thing that can happen in this case. Let's say you don't handle this syngas properly. There's a leakage. So there will be leakage of this methane, leakage of carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, I said, it's a dangerous gas, right? If there is a leakage, then it's a problem. But if you handle properly, there's no problem, right? So you are using the same coal and making it a clean fuel. Earlier, it was not clean fuel. Clear? Any doubt on this? No? Done then. That's all for today. This one? I'll send the PPT, na? Why you're taking so much efforts? Okay, online students are saying good evening, sir. Good evening. Okay, no doubts? Okay then, thank you so much.